What's going on, Ape Nation? Hope everybody's having a great day. I did want to go over something really quickly. I'm just doing research on litigations that have to do with ISDA agreements. And if you've been watching any of mine or Bigum's videos, I'm sure you're familiar with ISDA by now. And it's just something that we don't have a whole lot of oversight with in terms of looking into the transparency of the thing, right, of these agreements. But I stumbled across this through a law firm today when I thought it was pretty interesting. So we're just going to go through it together. Now, I want to explain a couple things. This is, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money compared to what's really flowing through ISDA. The amounts are generally much larger than this, but it's a good example. So what these guys do, this law firm, they represent investors worldwide in disputes with financial firms where the investment product is governed by an ISDA agreement. So, we've talked about all the negative things that surround ISDA agreements and what they can be used to manipulate prices and stock and all kinds of different things, swaps, derivatives. It's just a really beneficial tool for them, and only the big of the big can play with it. So they say the master agreement has become the standard form contract used by institutions to trade complex derivative and swap transactions with each other. And while it says it is useful in facilitating such institutional trading, such agreements are subject to abuse when they purport to document legal rights, disclose risks, and confirm suitability when the complex products that they govern are sold by financial firms to non-institutional investors who may have little or no understanding of the highly complex, mathematically dense, and lengthy agreement. So what does that mean? It's like, hey, they're preying on people that are maybe not institutional investors that kind of get lost in the sauce on this, right? And it says the ISDA agreement is readily tailored by financial firms to limit investors' rights, right? So limit investors' rights improperly or without proper disclosure. So you're getting all your rights stripped away, and they're really not disclosing that they're doing it through these agreements. And it says, for example, if an SEC registered financial firm decides to sell a derivative subject to an ISDA agreement through an unregistered affiliate, which they do this all the time, then the agreement will typically provide for exclusive jurisdiction over any dispute in court in New York or the United Kingdom, thus attempting to circumvent the investor's rights to arbitration at FINRA. That means that if you get wrapped up in this agreement and they squeeze these rules in that you're not really aware of, or it's above your head, right? And these are like smaller institutional places like family offices, et cetera, really, you kind of, even if you were to go to court in places like New York, United Kingdom, or had arbitration through FINRA, meaning that they were going to be some sort of legal proceedings, et cetera, it trumps all of that. That is, the agreement comes above all of those things. And so what it goes on to say is this law firm presently represents a family office and a $383 million FINRA arbitration claim in New York against Citigroup Global Markets related to Citigroup's misconduct with respect to the structuring, monitoring, and handling of hedge fund and private equity portfolios as the improper recommendation and implementation of a leveraged option swap transaction pursuant to an ISDA agreement and a lender-protected unit trust. The firm handled a $15 million dispute on behalf of a fuel and heating oil company against an international broker-dealer related to the purchase of OTC derivatives, including swaps and options pursuant to an ISDA agreement. So these are two different cases. The one that it's highlighted in red being a pretty major one, right? This is against Citigroup Global Markets. And again, in the first video that Bigums and I did, we talked about the high stakes room and about who the participants of ISDA are. It is the major banks of the world, right? So there's a $383 million case going on right now against Citigroup related to their misconduct with respect to the structuring, monitoring, and handling of hedge fund and private equity portfolios, and the improper recommendation and implementation of a leveraged option swap transaction, all done through an ISDA agreement, which we as retail and really, as you can see, family offices have, in which deal with a lot of money, have no real insight in. So I thought this was a really great example of how this is being used against us, and that where we're looking in the right spot. Our focus is on the right things, guys. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I love you a long time. Peace.